You're listening to the Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, yours and mine, equally valuable. So let's share them, shall we? Let's talk. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. So what's happening in Chicago, you might be asking, after another weekend of savagery regarding people shooting each other, 30-some people shot, 5 killed. Terrific. They're having the Democrat National Convention. It gets underway full steam today. And what's going on? Well, the convention's first night will pay tribute to the 81-year-old Democrat President Joe Biden. There will also be other Democrat heavyweights like Barack Obama, Bill and Hillary Clinton, also expected to speak tonight at the convention. The convention speaker schedule is subject to change, and a full list of speakers will be released at a later time. But to take a look at things, right this minute, they're having delegation breakfasts. There will be a morning press briefing, then a Black Caucus meeting, a Hispanic Caucus meeting, an AAPI Caucus meeting, Native American Caucus meeting, Ethnic Council meeting, LGBTQ plus caucus meeting, Small Business Council meeting, Labor Council meeting, Environmental and Climate Crisis Council meeting, and then main programming begins at 5:30 this afternoon. So there are all kinds of meetings and so on and so forth where they figure out just exactly where the Democrat Party is going to be following this convention after they publish their platform. It is expected to be raucous, if not violent. From USA Today, the city's 12,000 police officers say they're ready. The Secret Service says it's ready. Local leaders say they're ready. Residents, maybe not so much. An estimated 50,000 delegates, politicians, party activists are expected to attend the DNC in Chicago, with possibly tens of thousands of demonstrators marching through the streets. Non-scalable, tall steel fences, barricades, and park snowplows have already limited movement in key downtown areas. Helicopters buzz overhead. Grumpy business owners are worried about lost sales. Some residents and tourists say it all appears to be a bit overblown. Tourist Kai Lee, who is 29 years old, wondered aloud over the weekend if the precautions were necessary. A Great Falls, Montana dentist visiting family, Lee said it seemed excessive. I can tell you this, it's not excessive. It is not excessive. This is what you have to do. Are there political things that have to be said? Sure. The Democrat Party builds a wall around its convention in Chicago, but won't build a wall on the southern border of Texas, Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, California. Okay. Yeah, you can say all that stuff. But what's most important is that this not devolve into a violent mess like happened in 1968. And there are people that are rooting for that exact happenstance. More about that coming up in just a couple of moments. The convention happening is taking place amid the war in Gaza. It follows the July 13th attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump and mass transit sabotage during the Paris Olympics by terrorists. Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to formally accept the party's nomination on Thursday of this week. Sunday evening, a relatively small crowd of protesters waved flags as they marched several blocks down Michigan Avenue, at sometimes outnumbered by police officers with bikes who hemmed the group in along one side of a divided street. We have reports on this regarding just exactly what was happening. Let's take a look at that as we begin our broadcast this morning on the 19th day of August, year of our Lord 2024. This is what's happening in Chicago, at least yesterday.
Protesters are arriving with new concerns about potential clashes with police. Maura Barrett is on the ground there. So, Maura, what are you seeing?
Well, Holly, the first protest of the week is underway behind me. They're set to start marching here downtown in the next couple of minutes. And I should note, we're about 3 miles away from where most of the convention action is going to be taking. So it's got a big footprint across the city. And that's why officials say it's all hands on deck. But they also say they're ready.
On the eve of the Democratic National Convention's kickoff, protesters already on the streets of Chicago and even on the river. Strategizing for a massive ramp up in the days ahead, tens of thousands of protesters expected to pour into the Windy City.
People are coming by cars, planes, and trains.
They're calling on Democratic leaders to take action on issues from the Israel-Hamas war to reproductive rights and affordable housing. Activists like Sherry Hankala traveling in from across the country.
How optimistic are you that your voice will be heard this week?
I'm very optimistic. We have a shot for somebody to hear us, and we're going to take that shot.
The city says it's ready, designating protest zones. The streets in blue, just blocks from the convention. Activists, though, calling for more space to protest.
We are going to continue to fight up until the step off from the park tomorrow.
In downtown Chicago, businesses already boarded up.
I am hopeful that it's not needed. They are over-prepared, and I hope everyone stays safe.
Chicago police on high alert, training hundreds of officers to help pitch in. Security preps well underway. The governor today with a warning for protesters.
If there are troublemakers, they're going to get arrested and they're going to get convicted.
Maura's back with us now, and we're just learning of new plans for stepped-up security, Maura.
Yeah, Hallie, the police that are lining the streets around me received de-escalation training in the last year. We're learning. We've also learned the governor has authorized about 500 National Guard troops on the ground for added security.
All right, so that's what's going on with regards to security and protesters. More about that is going to be widely talked about throughout the rest of the week, and mainly it's because of stories like this. Again, from Fox News. Federal, state, local authorities are hoping to keep Chicago violence to a minimum during the 2024 Democrat National Convention. The Chicago Police Department, Secret Service, other agencies have been planning the operation for months and delivering public updates on the measures they are taking to prevent planned demonstrations from devolving as they have done before. Oftentimes, it's forgotten. There was a Democrat convention between 1968 and now, said Police Superintendent Larry Snelling. It was a success. It was 1996, in fact. He was speaking of the Bill Clinton second nomination in that year. Chicago has hosted more major party political conventions than any other city. 14 Republican conventions, 11 Democrat ones between 1860 and 1996. This according to the Chicago History Museum. But in 1968, marred by large-scale protests against the Vietnam War, stands out as the most infamous political convention in U.S. history. That year, or this year, the first anti-Israel demonstration scheduled for noon today at Union Park. That's a few blocks east of the United Center. In 1968, anti-Vietnam War protesters clashed with police and National Guardsmen outside the convention that nominated Vice President Hubert Humphrey in his unsuccessful campaign against Richard Nixon. Like Vice President Kamala Harris now, Humphrey assumed the mantle of presidential nominee without winning support in the normal primary process. It was an insistence by Lyndon Baines Johnson, that Hubert Humphrey be the nominee, and thus it was anointed and executed. The unpopular war and resulting draft were weighing heavily on the minds of many American voters, reeling from a pair of assassinations earlier that year, the murders of Dr. Martin Luther King and Robert F. Kennedy. It's almost like you can change the issues and layer the events on top of each other, one law enforcement source told Fox News. This year, organizations and organizers behind the march on the DNC 2024 are demanding an end of U.S. Support for Israel, legal status for 12 million illegal immigrants, abortion protections, among other left-wing items, as they pledge to rally at the start and end of the convention. One protest planned for tomorrow at the Israeli consulate in Chicago calls to, and this is the infamous part, calls to make it great like 68. That's a quote. The demonstration was promoted by a group of anti-imperialist resistance. That's the name of the group on Instagram. They say, quote, whether it's Genocide Joe or Killer Kamala, the butchers of Gaza cannot be allowed to gather in Chicago undisturbed, unquote. Protesters were coordinating bus rides and drop-offs for fellow demonstrators from out of state, some of whom the source described as professional protesters. Authorities have set up a secure perimeter around the two sites for this year's DNC, the United Center and McCormick Place Convention Center, and the improved route for demonstrators to march keeps them outside of all of it. It looks like a very good plan. I was looking at the map along with you earlier, and it does look like it's very well set up. Let's hope that it is. In 1968, massive left-wing protests against the Vietnam War erupted during the convention, prompting a violent police crackdown. Protests raged for days outside the convention, outside the Hilton Hotel where attendees were staying, and in famous Chicago parks. At least one delegate was accused of attacking police at a gate along the perimeter, tearing one officer's badge from his shirt and biting another one. This according to a government report. The 1968 report on the conflict, written by Chicago Corporation Counsel Raymond Simon, gave a look at some of the hard numbers of the ill-fated convention in 1968. The city council canceled days off for its 12,000-person police force. Although Chicago's population has grown roughly by 2 million in the following decades, the police force remains at about 12,000 officers. They have not grown the police force as the population has indeed grown. Simon claimed protesters had been urged to show up with smoke bombs, fake delegate cards, and football helmets, among other props. Over days of protests, Simon estimated the mobs of rioters varied in size from 300 to 5,000. Permit applications for planned marches predicted around 150 to 200,000 people. The Associated Press reported at the time that only about 10,000 showed up on the day of Humphrey's nomination, after organizers had promised 100,000, very much like they're doing this year. Organizers this year claim they're expecting that number to show up for marches at Union Park on Monday and Thursday. Simon's reports found that 60% of the 641 people arrested in connection with the 1968 chaos came from outside of Illinois. Of the 280 under the age of 21, 208 were students. He blamed much of the conflict on adult troublemakers from out of town. Rioters hurled bricks and other missiles at police, who responded with clubs, and the video was horrifying. Simon reported 198 police officers were injured in clashes, including 54 who had to be treated at the hospital. There were 60 civilians that were also hospitalized. The Associated Press placed the number of civilian injuries at over 300. Chicago police launched internal investigations into complaints of police assaults against 22 reporters. A separate investigation conducted by Daniel Walker on behalf of the National Commission on Causes and Prevention of Violence dubbed the clashes a police riot and accused minorities of both officers and demonstrators of inciting the violence. I can assure you, I remember sitting in front of my family television, watching all of that unfold as Mayor Daley, absolutely zero nonsense, ordered the Chicago Police Department to essentially attack. And they did. And they were swinging 3-foot-long riot clubs, hitting people on national television, and we were all standing there, sitting there, watching with our mouths agape as that unfolded in front of us. Did it leave marks on Chicago? Yes. Did it leave marks on the American psyche? Absolutely yes. And how do we know that both of those things are true? We're talking about it. And it's 2024. That's how we know. Let us all pray that this convention goes off smoothly, that it goes off without violence, although that might be a very, very tall order. We can at least hopefully make the effort in prayer. This is the Wells Report. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. Good morning. My name is John David Wells. Chicago is a very tough town. As I reported earlier today, 30 people shot over the weekend, 5 died. Children involved, horrifying. And that highlights the story of a heartbroken Chicago mother making an emotional plea for more information at the or because of her late son. Moni Jacobs' son Jeremy was murdered in the Windy City last year, leaving her family with no choice but to try to piece together their lives, still overwhelmed by grief and desperate for answers as to what happened, which those answers not forthcoming. Not a political person, she sat down with Fox and Friends co-star Lawrence Jones earlier this morning, where she pleaded for soft-on-crime politicians to make the city safer. Let's take a look at that report here on the Wells Report as we get going on Monday.
Highlight Vice President Kamala Harris' fight for everyday Americans today. But she previously supported a bail fund that put criminals back on the street, including someone who committed murder after he was freed. Our next guest lost her son, Jeremy, to senseless violence in Chicago last year and still doesn't know what happened. Moni Jacobs joins me now. Moni, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thank you.
This is supposed to be a happy time for you. You're supposed to be dropping off one of your babies to college.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with all that passion because you still don't know what happened to your son.
Yeah, it's hard. Every day is hard. And it's hard when you can't be weak and hurt because you have to be strong for your other children, especially my daughter, because she's in college and she's trying to do something with her life. And it's hard for her. So she calls a lot, "Ma, I need you. You know, how am I supposed to go on without my big brother?" Even though she has another one, they're more like twins. So it's hard for her. But I have to understand where she's coming from and put my feelings to the side to make her feel better so she won't lose focus while she's in college. You know?
You told me that they don't call you.
They don't.
They don't provide updates. So you have to call them. How does that make you feel?
I'm angry. But when I call, I try to be humble. You know, don't go in hostile to an environment, even though you're mad and you're hurt. You have to still talk to them with respect. But they don't give that to me. You don't even call me to update me about anything. And I think that's unfair. The story you give me is not the right story because I know my son. Like, we know him. And you can't tell me what you told me and think that I'm just going to let that go because that's not what happened. And I know you know more, but you don't call me and update me about anything. And I think it's unfair that I have to keep calling you, but he's the top case. You told me he's your priority. But how could you not reach out to me and keep me updated about what you're finding out? Thank you. You know, it's hard. To unsee the things that me and my kids had to see. It's just hard.
You're not a political person. You just want justice for your baby.
That's it.
But when you hear all of these politicians saying, just let the criminals back on the street, it's the same revolving. 5 people in Chicago were killed. That's not even the people that were shot over the weekend.
No.
Every single weekend, it seems like I'm getting some type of alert, or I have had to talk to some mom that said their baby shot in the front yard.
Right.
What do you think our leaders need to do to secure safety for people?
You need to buckle down a lot more. You worried about the wrong situations. You're worried about, like, politics. I'm not into that. Never been. But even if I decided to this year, how can I? Who can I trust? So I don't know who to vote for. I'm not even getting help with my own city, you know, trying to figure out what happened to my son. It's not fair.
The human face of epic tragedy surrounding an inability of Chicago to police itself. That decision apparently of political design. Yeah, that touched me very much this morning when I saw that report. And I suspect it did the same thing with you, because it does bring home just exactly of the realities involved in policies that need to change. This is the Wells Report. Back with more in just a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the broadcast. Word's getting around, and it's because of you. If you find value in this broadcast, please subscribe to it. Whatever platform you find me on, please do subscribe to this report. Pass it around to your friends. Ask them to subscribe. Make sure you light the notification button. We do, from time to time, do special reports And I'd like to make sure you know that we're going to be on the air at a different time than what we normally do, which is Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Central Time Zone. Also, by the way, give us thumbs ups. Those help. And if you'd like to support the show financially, please do this. Please go to patreon.com/The Wells Report. That's Patreon, patreon.com/The Wells Report. That funding helps us immeasurably, and it's just $1 or $2 a month. You don't have to go crazy. Some people have gifted us beautifully, and one of them is I'm not going to be able to say his name, but I can tell you that he's been a longtime stalwart and supporter of this broadcast who gives us a lot of money, and I want to thank him. He is our biggest contributor, and he knows who he is. And good morning, sir. But if you'd like to give us $1 or $2, that really helps. It adds up. And as you do the hard work of passing the word about this broadcast, where you can find honest, fair news, it sure helps. And thank you. So Democrats are kicking off their convention in Chicago, Illinois tonight. But Republicans are not lying fallow. We have been critical of the Republican Party regarding the impeachment report that they've been working on for months. Well, House Republicans released the impeachment report today. It is filled with accusations of influence peddling and obstruction against President Joe Biden, who previously denied the charges as lies during his nearly 2-year investigation. The 291-page report from 3 committees, Judiciary Oversight and Accountability, also Ways and Means, accuses President Biden of participating in a conspiracy to help his relatives receive millions of dollars from foreign interests by attending dinners and speaking with them on the telephone. There is a report from Fox News. We bring it to you now as we continue the Wells Report for Monday, this 19th day of August.
A Fox News alert, a brand new House GOP impeachment report finding that Joe Biden committed impeachable offenses that financially helped his family but hurt the country. The report states, quote, in certain circumstances, the president may be impeached for the actions of subordinate officials. The totality of the corrupt conduct uncovered by the committees is egregious. President Joe Biden conspired to commit influence peddling and grift. In doing so, he abused his office, and by lying repeatedly about his abuse of office, has defrauded the United States to enrich his family.
Pam Bondi is a former Florida attorney general and a Trump campaign surrogate, and she joins us now. Pam, good morning to you. So this report is coming out on the same day that Joe Biden is going to be passing the baton on over to Kamala Harris with a speech that he's giving tonight. But what do you think about the content in this report and where things go from here?
You know, Carly, much of it is shocking, but some is not surprising. You know, Fox has done great reporting on this over the years, and it's really frightening for the American people because what this report says is while Joe Biden was vice president, his family, they were living a very lavish lifestyle, we all know, and they took $27 million from foreign individuals and foreign entities, 27 million. And then they said 8.5 million were in loans, yet there's no documentation of these loans. And none of the loans, of course, were ever repaid. So it dealt with countries like Ukraine, we all know, Romania, Kazakhstan, Russia, China. You know, it's very frightening for national security. And we also know that he took documents home while he was vice president, very sensitive classified documents that he had no legal right as vice president to do. So it's very troubling. And, you know, it's extremely dangerous for our national security and the American people.
Yeah, you just wonder where it goes from here because Republicans do not want to give Kamala the power of incumbency if they were able to ultimately impeach Joe Biden and get him out between now and, January, which does not look like timing wise it could happen.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Obviously, political design here. The impeachment inquiry in typical Republican form, and I'm going to say this over here. The impeachment inquiry was essentially nothing more than a political project. As it turns out, they weren't actually trying to nail President Biden with bribery, which is specified among high crimes and misdemeanors by the Constitution of the United States to both trigger impeachment and perhaps removal from office. This is not going anywhere. And so it was a political project the entire time. this is something I feel like I've got to comment on. The Republican Party is not a party that is willing to fight for its principles and beliefs as the Democrat Party does. They simply don't. And this is another perfect example of why I'm no longer a Republican. I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe in the Constitution of the United States. I'm not a strict constructionist. In other words, I don't believe that whatever is written in the Constitution is absolutely the way it has to be. And I'm a reasonable constructionist. In other words, it's not so much what the document actually says. It is so much what the document means. And that's clear. Not just clear in the verbiage itself, but also clear from a standpoint of how it's been interpreted over the years through a plethora of Supreme Court decisions. The Constitution, this form of government, works beautifully. And yes, the government of the United States, both parties, in fact, have been distancing themselves from those documents to the point where the government specified by the Constitution is hardly recognizable to the one that we live with every single day. Further, the erosion and outright suspension, thanks to COVID, of the Constitutional Bill of Rights. Those rights that spell out exactly what we have as our operating rules and compact between the people of the United States and the government set far afield for the sake of politics. This is not anything that we can tolerate, nor should we. It makes no difference what party you're a part of. This is not a partisan broadcast. This is a constitutional broadcast. This is an American broadcast. And I don't care what your politics are. But what you must do is be more careful with your vote. And you need to stop voting for Democrats and Republicans. And you need to start voting for Americans. Because this entire cabal of both left, right, liberal, conservative, this entire cabal working in Washington, D.C., is distancing itself from the Constitution and threatening to remove the Republic from our midst and our grasp. This is a perfect election to do something about it. We've actually seen the American people respond. We've seen incumbents turned away in primaries of both parties. In my wish and hope that indeed what we do is we find a way to elect someone else. I don't care whether you're a Democrat, you want to vote for a Democrat, that's fine. Just vote for a different one. Same thing with Republicans. Vote for a different one. And for all the parties that are in between, the parties, the Libertarian Party, even the Constitution Party, which doesn't work hard enough in my view, all those wild cards of various representatives, governors, state representatives, state senators, etc. Those add to the mix of the great American experience. But it all starts in a voting booth. And the idea that, say, for example, many of us are trying to figure out just exactly what happened last time around in the election, an election that wasn't fully investigated. The Republicans who came up with this impeachment report that we just reported on, and I will continue to here in a minute, didn't bother to come up with a commission to find out exactly what happened in the 2020 election. Why? Why? Oh, yeah, they'll chase President Biden down. They'll come up with an impeachment report that they drop on the day before the Democrat National Convention. Okay, fine. That's fine. But will they do anything about it? The answer is no. What does this mean? Well, this means that according to their report, there is a president in office who doesn't belong there. But they won't do anything about it. Meanwhile, the other side impeached President Trump twice on grounds much different, if not even insignificant in comparison. President Trump was impeached for things that barely brush the constitutional declarations for impeachment. But this one is spelled out clearly. But as it turns out, it's just a political cookie thrown at Democrats by Republicans who don't have the guts to follow through on what they should have done. This report should have come out months ago. There should have been a trial in the Senate. Yes, the Democrat-run Senate would set it aside, as they have done with Alejandro Mayorkas. But the Republican Party is not up to national leadership. As currently impaneled, the Republican Party is weak, feckless, nearly irrelevant. And when someone who is none of those things, a populist president and presidential contender, shows up, the Republican Party fights almost as hard against that person as the opposing political party. The Republican Party is useless. It is useless. When they get hit in the mouth, they say, "My God, that's uncivilized. It's not civil. How dare you hit me in the mouth?" No, when you get hit in the mouth, you come back with a bristling right cross. And you make dang sure that it connects. And you make dang sure that whoever receives it remembers it. No, can't do it. So what does that mean? That means the Republican Party keeps getting hit in the face. And while I wouldn't really care one way or another, who's fighting for the United States of America? The Democrats? Not that I can see. The Republican Party? No, they're chicken. There is one person who's fighting for the United States of America. Took a bullet for it. Is he a Republican? Not according to Republicans. But according to the people, perhaps. Perhaps. Getting back to this thing, whatever it is, the 298-page report says this, quote, the totality of the corrupt conduct uncovered by the committees is egregious. President Joe Biden conspired to commit influence peddling and grift. In doing so, he abused his office by repeatedly lying about his abuse of office, defrauded the United States to enrich his family. The release of the report came on the same day that President Biden, who chose not to seek re-election against former President Donald Trump, is scheduled to speak at the Democrat National Convention. The report said the committee sought to update lawmakers about the evidence gathered so far, while continuing to investigate. But Biden's allies have said Republicans aim to prop up Trump's polling numbers against Biden through the investigation and help Trump win in November. Seriously? Democrat Party says, man, all this is a political cookie designed to help Trump. That's called campaigning. That's called campaigning during an election year. It's not that the Democrat Party doesn't do it, right? Sarcasm alert, sarcasm alert, sarcasm alert. Biden called the accusations of corruption lies. His brother James Biden and his son Hunter have denied that he was involved in their business deals. After a hearing in March, even when some House Republicans questioned the evidence against Biden, White House counsel Edward Siskel declared the impeachment inquiry over prematurely. Instead, the investigation has continually turned up evidence. In fact, the president did nothing wrong, Siskel wrote in March to House Speaker Mike Johnson. The report is cast as an update on the multiple investigations Republicans have pursued since regaining control of the House in 2023, rather than necessarily setting up a vote of impeachment on the Senate trial. The impeachment inquiry is likely to become the first against a president that did not result in a House vote or a resignation. To me, that says it all. Thanks for joining us on the Wells Report. Hi, who's this?
It's Gary from Fort Worth.
Hi, Gary from Fort Worth. How's everything going?
It's always a great day when we all get together.
It is. Talk to me about what made you call this morning at 817-379-2172.
Well, you told me I had to call in.
I did not tell you that at all. That is not. That is a lie.
No, it's not. That's not true. That's not true.
No, it's not true at all.
I got to call and annoy you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the whole ball of wax. Going back at this point, 25, 30 years, nothing's going to come of this. Nothing's going to come of it. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all, hey, Joe's not getting treated any different, all the other crap. Nothing is going to happen to him. It's that simple. We had a former president who violated the War Powers Act twice, I believe. Nothing happened to him. I mean, it all depends on which side of the fence you're in. And yeah, I'm in concurrence with you about the Republican Party. It's they're just there for to get a fat paycheck for being pontificating do-nothings, and they're all in it together. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they are. They are all in it together. The ruling class in the United States, something specifically prohibited by the Constitution. As a matter of fact, we fought a revolution to get away from that, didn't we? This is the Wells Report. We continue next. Stay put.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Yeah, Monday. It's August 19th, year of our Lord 2024. Something interesting has happened in the media. One is noteworthy and one is shameful. Both from USA Today. USA Today is doing something they have not done in the mainstream media for a very long time. They're actually reporting on items involved in Agenda 47, the official agenda of President Trump as he moves forward toward this year's elections. They've abandoned Project 2025 because it had nothing to do with President Trump, except, of course, it was a roadmap for organization, an organizational roadmap for conservatism moving forward. All right, that's fine. But now at least USA Today has gone to Agenda 47, and they say it this way. As presidential candidates begin to focus on their policies, immigration continues to be one of the biggest issues in the election, if not the biggest. Donald Trump's platform has long focused on immigration. One of his earliest 2016 campaign messages was to build a wall along the southern border. He did a lot of that, not completely, because he was fought by Congress the entire way. The issue is taking center stage again. In this election, Republicans have increasingly raised alarm bells about migrant invasions. Throughout several administrations, immigration policy is stalled in Congress. Policies have largely been set through executive action, which can change at the whim of an election cycle or even between election cycles. Joe Biden has issued more executive actions on immigration than Trump had in his entire presidency. This, according to Kathleen Bush Joseph, policy analyst with the nonpartisan think tank Migration Policy Institute. Biden has moved significantly to the right over the last couple of years, blaming Republicans for failing to support a bipartisan immigration bill while saying he would be able to shut down the border if it had passed. So when you go through all of this, what happens is that the idea is that Agenda 47 calls for a closure of the border and deportation of these immigrants. It also calls for the end of birthright citizenship, which USA Today started this morning by saying it was the end of naturalized citizenship for the people of the United States and those who wish to come here, which was wrong. It was biased and it was incorrect. And USA Today put it out there anyway. They say that this birthright citizenship, where somebody shows up illegally, has a baby, and the baby is immediately conferred United States citizenship. That is not naturalized citizenship. When naturalized people come to the United States, they become American, they are naturalized, they have children, their children are American citizens. That makes sense. People breaking the law to come here to have a baby for that citizenship, which is then leveraged them coming to the United States, is a political machination that is absolutely wrong. And then, of course, the mainstream media says, well, it's the end of naturalized immigration. Ah! No, that's not true. In fact, it's a flaming lie, in my humble opinion. There was also something else. President Trump's plane could not land in Bozeman, Montana. And the reason, which was talked about at length on social media, was he owed the airport $12,000. A Threads post, they've got links in USA Today, claims former President Trump's flight was diverted in Montana over unpaid bills. Now we know the real reason why Trump landed in Billings, Montana, then drove 2 hours to Bozeman. He couldn't land in Bozeman because the lifelong con man still owes the airport $12,000 from the 2020 election. The post was shared more than 1,000 times in 4 days. Other versions spread on Facebook, X, etc. There is a fact check from USA Today. The rating, false. Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport said Trump does not owe the airport any money. Mechanical problems prompted a landing in Billings, Montana, instead of the planned destination. Trump flew from Billings, Montana to Bozeman in a private charter, not Trump Force One. This according to a City of Billings spokesperson. So Missoula County invoiced Trump for a 2018 visit. The flight to Bozeman for a campaign rally was diverted because of a mechanical issue, as reported by outlets, including the Associated Press and the Washington Post. He landed at the Billings Logan International Airport. City of Billings spokesperson Victoria Hill told USA Today that airport is more than 125 miles east of the original destination. Bozeman Airport officials said the claim that financial issues prompted the diversion is false. There is no outstanding bill owed BZN, that's the abbreviation for the airport, by either former President Trump or his campaign. It reiterated the destination change was because of mechanical issues, though it did not specify what those were. And this is coming from USA Today. And I'm reporting it because this is unfair. You know, I talk about the grenade fragments of a political a campaign that essentially mean nothing but are still enough to get a headline on the front page of a major newspaper, like this one did. I'm sitting here going, okay, hold on a second. And so out of fairness, not out of partisan support, I report that to you. Why? Well, because the mainstream media is lying. And they've been lying about virtually everything. From President Biden's mental condition to what is happening from a policy standpoint, both out of the administration and the Harris campaign, they're just lies, either of omission or outright commission. as I just reported, against President Trump. Does that happen much to President Biden or Vice President Harris? Not nearly in the volume that we see, the vitriol from the American press against someone they disagree with politically. It's inexcusable, and one of the reasons why you're here on the Wells Report for this Monday, the 19th day of August. I'm John David Wells. Thank you again for being with us. Coming up in just a couple of moments, Vice President Harris. Just exactly what is she doing aside from being at the DNC? The answer is not much. Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. What is this broadcast? It is a report of the news, reported honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We depropagandize the mainstream media. We point that out. And yeah, I know I'm kind of a bore when it comes to nailing big-time news outlets for playing politics instead of reporting the news. But somebody's got to tell you you're being lied to. And since I'm outside of that bubble, I've decided that this is my job and this is what I should do. But I do it fairly. We also make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine, equally valuable. So let's share them. Let's discuss. Let's debate. Just because I say it doesn't mean it's the law or any of that. It's just what I think. What do you think? Let's find out. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172, our telephone number. Vice President Kamala Harris, running for the presidency, has gone 29 days without holding a formal press conference or sit-down interview since becoming the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee. While she's been busy on the campaign trail, she's spoken at various events, she's given informal remarks to gaggle reporters at various points since effectively replacing President Biden on the ticket last month. She has not done a formal press conference or wide-ranging interview in the 4 weeks that has followed, or that have followed. Former President Trump held his second press conference in a week at Bedminster, New Jersey. Since August 6th, he's answered 81 questions in pressers and interviews, including a 2-hour session with supporter Elon Musk last week. Frankly, that doesn't count. That is the fact that Elon Musk is an entrepreneur. He is a guy who is not a strict journalist. He's just a guy trying to get the president to talk, and he was successful in doing so. But that's not a formal press conference. But that being said, the president has had at least 2. In the same period, Harris has done brief gaggles as well as off-the-record sessions with traveling reporters, but has not done anything formal with her press. She spoke for a few minutes at a campaign stop with reporters on Sunday, telling the media she is considering herself an underdog as the Democrat National Convention kicks off today. Let's take a look at some of the comments that were given by the Democrat hopeful. She was at that Pennsylvania event. Let me see if you know exactly what she's talking about on the Wells Report as we continue for Monday morning.
Our election is about understanding the importance of this beautiful country of ours in terms of what we stand for around the globe as a democracy. As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact, what it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile.
Okay. Overly emotive, lacking of any kind of substance. Essentially, she's talking about what she's thinking at the moment. As I have criticized President Trump on numerous occasions for going off script and babbling, this is what it looks like when Kamala Harris does it. It's been decried as a word salad. It also, by the way, has to be pointed out that that there are serious problems with her discussion of democracy in any venue, let alone in Pennsylvania. This is a Democrat nominee. She has the Democrat Party behind her in a way that we have not seen since Hubert Humphrey in 1968. No ballots have been cast. No primary process. The last time she went through a primary process, it ended before a single vote was cast, basically because of the face plants that we have seen in various points around this particular campaign and will doubtless continue. In other words, she's talking about democracy. She's not received a single vote from a single voter for the presidency of the United States. What does this mean? What does it mean to you? Anything? Give me a call. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. If you're a Democrat and you're happy about Kamala Harris, tell me about it. Tell me what you're basing your vote on. She's made one policy statement, that on economics, decried roundly in the mainstream media as communist price controls. And that's not just the right-wing press, that's the entire press. The more she talks about her policies, the worse it's going to get. And if she's in an unscripted moment like we just saw moments ago, if she's in an unscripted moment, that stuff's coming out. In other words, is it possible for her to have a press conference? Is it possible for her to stand on a stage with Donald Trump for the first time, possibly coming up, by the way, we have news on that. It'll come up in a minute. But is she going to be able to clearly elucidate what she wants to do as president of the United States without descending into word salad that has people scratching their heads? And frankly, a field of reality? She's talking about the fragile nature of democracy. She's not received a single vote. Where's the democracy? What is she talking about? Sorry, I can't see it. Maybe I'm just dense. If you can enlighten me, by all means do. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. So I'm not the only one that has noticed this. Other people have. This, by the way, is Fox News, and you need to keep in mind this is biased reporting. Keep it in mind. Vice President Kamala Harris was ridiculed on social media after delivering a long-winded monologue on the duality of the nature of democracy at a campaign event in Pennsylvania. She spoke to supporters at an event in Rochester that happened yesterday, alongside her running mate, Tim Walz, before the pair headed to Chicago for the Democrat convention, where she will be nominated as the party's nominee without receiving a single primary vote. In a seemingly off-script moment during the event, she regaled attendees with a lecture about the dual nature of democracy, describing it as both incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. You just heard that. A clip of the comment shared online, reigniting attacks against the vice president for her rambling statements that critics have termed word salads. Republicans said the comment offered voters an insight to the true Harris when the teleprompter is turned off. They took Kamala off the teleprompter today in Pennsylvania. It did not go well, said Outkick.com founder Clay Travis, very partisan. alongside the clip that he posted. Kamala is uniquely awful. She's not smart, charming, or talented. The more voters hear her voice, the less they'll want to support her, said radio show host Buck Sexton, writing on X. All downhill from here. Keep the faith. Again, partisan. This is why Comrade Kamala isn't allowed to speak off script. Holy crap. Anybody know what the hell she's talking about here? That was video journalist Nick Sortor. Is this the best the Democrats could get? He wrote up in a follow-up post. Conservative commentary Carmine Sabia quipped, is this the Harrison Waltz rally or a 10-year-old's birthday party? No free concert? And she draws dozens of fans. Let's see. Podcast host Alec Lace called Harris the wizard of word salad, adding, if you're wondering why they don't like Kamala Harris to go off teleprompter, this is why. Those moments are looming. They are looming. At some point, she's going to have to address the press. Is she going to do it in the Biden style, where she's handed a card of friendly journalists that she calls on in sequence with possibly pre-arranged questions, with pre-arranged answers? We've been through that once. Are we going to go through that again? And then there's this. Okay, take this for what it's worth. Maybe not much, we'll see. Assistant Professor of Psychiatry at the University of Toronto, J.T. Haltigan, replied alongside the clip, utterly delusional incoherence. At least when Trump riffs, there's a thread. This is a confetti of word salad. Okay. Take it for what it's worth. I'm reporting the news. 2 Fox reports I just shared with you, and they are biased. Now, this is another Fox News report that answers, or perhaps answers, a question many of us have been asking. What is the question? Well, who's running the presidency? Does anybody know? Who's actually running the presidency? Who's writing the note cards that President Biden used? Who's doing the teleprompter scripting? Who's doing it? Do you know? If you do, by all means, share it with me, 817-379-2172. Because I got to be honest with you, I have no idea. I go through the news every single day. Even on the weekends, I'm sitting there with the news. I have become a news nerd. I'm just sitting there crying, okay, what's next? What's the next piece? What am I learning? And so now we have an idea of maybe just exactly who's calling the shots. And it comes from, not from a blatant recitation of fact. No, it comes from yet another little piece of intelligence that may be a puzzle piece that fits with others, but then again may not. Again, I present this purely for your consideration. 2 years before winning the Oval Office in 2008, former President Barack Obama was one of the high-profile Democrats in the nation to campaign for Tim Walz when he first launched a career in politics. Quote, I remember standing on that stage. We were coming off it. There was someone there who was a supporter of mine who said, stop, let me take a picture. Walz said in 2017 of how President Obama, soon to be President Obama, traveled to Minnesota to support him during his first congressional run. Actually, he'd already been the president. The pair, as well as then Hennepin County Attorney Amy Klobuchar, took a photo together, which Walz framed and hung in his office, according to the Minneapolis Post in 2017. A future congressman, a future senator, and a future president, Walz said. He captioned the photo, noting that Obama was one of the few high-profile Democrats at the time to support him in 2006. So I was correct. It was before President Obama became the president. So why do you suppose President Obama was so enamored with Tim Walz? Could it be because Tim Walz is a leftist progressive trying to move the American experience into a socialist one as opposed to a capitalist free enterprise one? Maybe. And suddenly we have Tim Walz as the vice presidential running mate of Kamala Harris, who is also decidedly progressive and following in those same Obama-laid footsteps. And so maybe we have just another little puzzle piece that looks to an Obama presidium a group of people, we know who they are, that sit in the background and dictate terms for the presidency that we've just seen and perhaps the presidency we will see. Is that possible? Sure, it's possible. Is it real? I don't know. But somebody's running that presidency. It's decidedly not the president. And is someone running the vice presidency? Is that Kamala Harris? Probably. How do we know that? Well, 92% of her staff has quit while she's been the presidency, the vice president. So once again, trying to get it back to basics, put it together, and offer it for consideration to you. This is the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. I was just reminded off the chat room that there was indeed an interview where Kamala Harris sat down and answered questions. Well, was it with who? Was it with David Muir from ABC? No. Who was it with? It was with Tim Walz, her vice presidential choice. Is that what happened? The answer is yes. Here's a small piece of the interview that I thought I would share with you because maybe you can tell me what exactly happened. Take a look.
Being halftime in America, we're a touchdown down, and I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
Like I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm
You
trying
know
to
it.
expand
We'll
my
figure that-
my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I
I was
called
hoping
you,
maybe
Tim.
we wouldn't have
I
to.
called you, Tim.
Yes,
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know. The
What happened?
the most important call of my life, it popped up and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer. There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege for me. Also, I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well,
So
we're doing it together, buddy.
fun.
We're doing it together. How have these last couple of days been for you?
I can see where the energy comes. America is a hopeful country.
Indeed.
People are excited.
In every one of those groups of thousands, sometimes over 10,000 people, you've seen exactly who we are as America.
Yeah.
People from rural areas, urban areas, of every stripe and size and background. This is who we are as America, and we're
Yeah.
all in it together.
Yeah. No. I don't know what. I've never seen anything like that. I have never seen anybody that was running for the presidency of the United States sit down with their vice presidential pick and talk about tacos. Yeah. Okay. Well, once again, just bringing you the news. You decide what it means, please. And when you figure it out, give me a call and let me know, because I really need some help on this one. Let's move forward. We'll probably find out a little bit more about what's actually going on. The first presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris has been officially announced. This from USA Today. After weeks of speculation about which network would host the debate and which date it would be held on, ABC News announced over the weekend the first debate will take place in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center Tuesday, September 10th. The Harris-Walz campaign said in a statement last Thursday, Trump's campaign accepted the proposal for 3 debates total, 2 presidential and 1 vice presidential. And then they said this, quote, assuming Donald Trump actually shows up on September 10th to debate Vice President Harris, then Governor Walz will see J.D. Vance on October 1st. The American people will have another opportunity to see the Vice President and Donald Trump on the debate stage in October, according to the campaign. The former president's campaign also put forth debates of September 4th and September 25th, with the details to be worked out with the Harris campaign. I don't think the September 4th one will go because ABC News has staked out September 10th, but we'll see. Here's what you need to know. When will the first presidential debate we talked to you about? How to watch it. It's going to be on ABC, stream on ABC News Live, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Who are the moderators? World News Tonight anchor, managing editor David Muir, who's a real journalist, along with ABC News Live prime anchor Lindsay Davis, I don't know anything about, will serve as moderators, according to ABC. The question is whether or not ABC can do what CNN did, which was actually set aside politics and do actual journalism during the first debate that we have seen, and did a very, very good job. That was in June with President Biden and Donald Trump. We'll find out on September 10th. Back with more in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. Thanks for being here. If you find value in this broadcast, please subscribe to it on the platform you're watching it on. Please do so. Pass it around to your friends. Share it. Ask them to subscribe. By the way, this work is paying dividends. People are coming to this broadcast more and more because of what we try to do here, which is give you fact. We do make commentary. That's not fact, as I keep saying, it's opinion. But I need yours. I need yours. Call me on the telephone. Tell me what you think. Whether you agree, disagree, makes no difference. We, the people of the United States, have to come together and do better jobs with our voting. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what party you're a part of. I don't care. But you got to have more facts, and you're not getting them from the mainstream media. Well, I do that here. And please, by all means, share it with your friends. Hit the notification button. Hit the notification button so you know when we're on the air. And by the way, give us thumbs ups. If you believe we deserve them, give us those. There is another issue that has very little to do with the Democrat National Convention, except that in that convention, there will be people that are, in my humble opinion, showing virulent, horrifying, ignorant, anti-Jewish bigotry that will be marching around the Democrat National Convention, calling the Democrats that are going to be nominated baby killers, all kinds of things, decrying the horrors of the Israeli response to a Hamas terror attack that killed more Jews on October 7th of last year than since the Holocaust. They will be there, and they will indeed be a blemish on this American move of democracy, Democrat style. That being said, Hamas and Israel sort of are talking about a possible ceasefire. There are developments in that particular story. Hamas leaders have rejected a proposed ceasefire agreement hammered out in talks last week that had drawn optimism from U.S., Egypt, and Qatar mediators, suggesting a deal could be close. Quote, after being briefed by mediators about what happened in the last rounds of talks in Doha, that's in Qatar, we once again came to the conclusion that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is still putting obstacles in the way of reaching an agreement, said Hamas. The statement accused Netanyahu of setting new conditions and demands with the aim of undermining the mediators' efforts and prolonging the war, unquote. The Biden administration is trying to bridge gaps between Israel and Hamas on control of border crossings, the number and identity of Israeli hostages, and security prisoners that would be freed, and future governance of the embattled enclave, that being the Gaza Strip. Friday of last week, President Joe Biden said the parties were closer than we've ever been to an agreement. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, consistently demanded that the remnants of the battered Hamas militant group play no role in the future of Gaza, a demand often rejected by Hamas, as you might expect. Any movement by Netanyahu away from that stand would jeopardize his fragile alliance with Israel's far right wing, could threaten his hold on the Prime Minister's office. In my humble opinion, that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Israel is going to take out Hamas. Israel should take out Hamas. These people supporting Hamas are supporting Israeli genocide. And I'm not talking about the supposed genocide of Israel going into the Gaza Strip and exacting punishment, accountability, retribution, reckoning for a terror attack with no moral basis. No moral basis. That, oh, by the way, happened during another agreed-to ceasefire. The Hamas statement said new proposals reflect Netanyahu's conditions, rejecting a permanent ceasefire and a comprehensive withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. That's not going to happen. In fact, it cannot happen unless Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the rest of the world want to see another October 7th slaughter of Jews. For his part, Benjamin Netanyahu has indeed made a statement. It is in Hebrew. I'm not going to translate, but along with you, I will be reading the captions below what Benjamin Netanyahu is saying. Let's take a look together on the Wells Report. Israel is prepared for any threat, both defensively and offensively. We are determined to defend ourselves, and we are also determined to exact a heavy price for the enemy to attack us. I want to emphasize we are conducting negotiations, and not that we just give and give. There are things we can be flexible on, and there are things that we cannot be flexible on, which we will be insisting on. We know how to distinguish between the two very well. We still stand by the same principles that are sustainable for Israel's security. These principles are in keeping with the May 27th framework, which received American support. Once again, I'd like to emphasize, up until now, Hamas has been completely obstinate. It did not even send representatives to the talks in Doha. Therefore, pressure needs to be directed at Hamas and Sinwar, not the government of Israel. And he is completely correct. He's correct in his assertions. He's correct in his reporting. This is something that cannot continue. And so Hamas, decrying the loss of 40,000 of their citizens, rejecting whatever it takes to be able to stop the slaughter of their own people, while they are rejecting these talks and rejecting the things they must agree to, based on their conduct on October 7th and before and after, they simply must acquiesce to these demands. Israel is not going to leave itself open to another Hamas slaughter. They're simply not. And so as we do this, what else has happened? Well, I'll tell you what else happened. Israel has been a victim of yet another terror attack. And here's how this went out. This from Fox News. Hamas and Islamic Jihad claim joint responsibility today for a bombing the day before yesterday in Tel Aviv that both killed the apparent attacker and wounded a bystander. Israeli officials confirmed was a terror attack. The bomb appeared to go off before it was intended to. The presumed attacker was shown in security footage walking down the street wearing a large backpack just before the explosion, according to the Associated Press. Israeli media quoted police officials as saying the intended target was a nearby synagogue. In a statement today, Hamas's militant wing said that it and Palestinian Islamic Jihad's militant wing were responsible for the blast. Al-Qassam brigades, in cooperation with Saraya al-Quds, announced the execution of a martyrdom operation that took place last night, Sunday, in the city of Tel Aviv. The group's threatened martyrdom operations within the occupied territories will return to the forefront as long as the massacres by the occupation, the displacement of civilians, and the assassination policies continue. Reuters reported that it was a reference to Israelis' offensive in Gaza and the July 31st killing of top Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in an explosion in Tehran that was blamed on Israel. Israel Police Spokesperson's Unit and the Shin Bet Spokesperson's Unit released a joint statement of their own confirming the large explosion that detonated the night before in Tel Aviv as being a terror attack. Again, claimed by Hamas. Since last night, Tel Aviv District Police officers from the Police Bomb Disposal Unit, and forensic investigators, in cooperation with the Israeli security agency, Shin Bet, have been, and this is a quote, have been working on the scene where a powerful bomb exploded in the Lechi Road in Tel Aviv. All necessary actions and examinations are being carried out in coordination with Shin Bet. It can now be confirmed this was a terror attack involving the explosion of a powerful explosive. And so, once again, we see Hamas not sending representatives to peace talks, demanding peace from Israel under their conditions that are unacceptable, not just by Israel, but by any thinking human being, in my opinion. And while those talks are going on, they perpetrate a terror attack in Tel Aviv. And thanks to incompetence by the person carrying a backpack bomb, he wasn't able to walk into a synagogue. and quite literally blow it to kingdom come. So, what does this mean to me? Before I jump into this, I want to make something abundantly clear. I don't have any axe to grind with the Palestinian people. I'm just reporting the news. I'm making comment on what is a pathological, murderous, deranged governmental policy on the part of Hamas that at once decries the killing of its own people while slaughtering Jews, and then rejects peace overtures while committing terror attack. Netanyahu said moments ago, what you just saw, Hamas is being obstinate. They are. That's not an untruth. That's not Israeli propaganda. That is reality on the ground. Meanwhile, anti-Hamas operations continue in the Gaza Strip, and they should. And Israel is not going to back off on what happens in Gaza after the conflict has concluded. Hamas cannot be a part of the Gaza Strip's future. The Palestinians, as a whole, must reckon with where they find themselves thanks to their support of a terror group that slaughters others in their names. They have to come up with some kind of way to realize that Hamas is responsible for the slaughter of their own, not Israel. Israel is defending itself. I've looked at this every possible way I can. And that is the conclusion I've come up with. If you have a different one, by all means, share it with me. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Explain it to me. Respectfully. I'll be respectful back. Be civil. I'll be civil back. I just want to know, and I want to share why this is okay. Why what Hamas is doing is even understandable. Because I can't see it. All I can see is a gang of terrorists with one goal: to slaughter as many Jews as they possibly can. Because they're Jews. And I also want to hold accountable all of those agencies around the world that seem to find some kind of moral clarity with regard to the conduct of Hamas. I want to hold them accountable, including many in the United States media, including many in the Democrat Party, the Squad, and including many of these protesters, not just at the Democrat National Convention today and throughout the rest of the week, but in American universities, where these pretenders theoretically stand with Hamas, and yet they've never been to the Gaza Strip. They've never actually lived under Hamas rule. They are indeed posers. And they wear the garb of Palestinians, and they make bold statements, and they talk genocide, etc., and it's all puerile idiocy, in my view. And yet, it continues, because here in the United States, even if it's repugnant, even if it's counter to humanity, it's protected free speech that I celebrate. But the repugnancy, it sticks in my craw. It is horrifying to see plain anti-Jewish bigotry quite literally on parade at American universities. In the Ivy League, 4 presidents have walked away from their jobs because of their inability to deal with anti-Jewish bigotry on their own campuses. I don't see that there's any other answer. Either Hamas will surrender, or Hamas will be destroyed, and those people that hang on every release of tragedy and horror based on the Israeli reprisals for this horrendous, inhuman crime against humanity of the October 7th attack must surely see the reality now as a bomb goes off in Tel Aviv during peace talks, claimed proudly by Hamas. How have I gotten this wrong? Tell me. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. You know how the Wells Report came to be, but what do you know about the people that educated me to be the host of this broadcast? I'll share some of that with you next on the Wells Report.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. If you've been a part of this broadcast, you know its inception was on 9/11/2001. I was given the high privilege of both reporting on the 9/11 attacks on that day and to try to make sense of it while listening to the American people express their anguish, their pain, their outrage. I've been doing this broadcast devoted to fair, honest reporting of news ever since that horrifying day. The constellation of abilities that allowed me to do that broadcast and all the broadcasts since have their origins in a lot of different people. Radio giants, Rick McDonald, Tom Tradup, a lot of people, Jerry Clifton, gave me the things that I used to structure this broadcast. There were television stars who did the same thing. Johnny Carson. I watched the way he interviewed people so deftly and so beautifully with such humor and grace. Dick Cavett, his intellectual approach to an entertainment talk show. And there was another, a man who existed before Rush Limbaugh, whose broadcast was fair, balanced, insightful, and brilliant. That man was Phil Donahue. Phil Donahue has passed. Here is how the Today Show this morning covered the story.
We are going to start with some sad news on this Monday, though, because just moments ago, we learned that television icon Phil Donahue has died. He died at the age of 88. He was, of course, a daytime staple for decades, pioneering the talk show format that has been replicated so many times since then.
You know, we overuse sometimes the word trailblazer, but he certainly was indeed. And he was born in Cleveland, Ohio. He began his career back in 1959, working in radio before making the move to TV. Earlier this summer, Donahue was among those honored at the White House when President Biden presented him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor for an American civilian.
And of course, he was married for more than 40 years to Marlo Thomas, a frequent guest and good friend of Today. They met actually on his talk show in 1977.
Wow.
And then they got married in the 80s. And she said their love, she always said love, listening, and lust. The three L's are what kept their marriage going.
You know, and she's essentially, as we say, family to the show or a cousin to the show. They were just telling me, I think she's been part of, you know, St. Jude and our partnership here for almost 21 years.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So much of their lives has always been about giving. Donahue's family did release a statement saying that he died surrounded by his wife, Marlo, of 44 years, his sister, his children, grandchildren, and his beloved golden retriever, Charlie. Phil Donahue, 88 years old. He passed away peacefully following a long illness. And of course, our thoughts here at the show, at the network, or with Marlo and the family this morning.
Absolutely.
Phil Donahue taught us all how to have a discussion instead of an argument. He taught us how to be civil and yet cover all the subjects involved in any particular issue he touched on. He asked very difficult questions of both political sides and would not relent until he got a clear answer. His show was so good. It started out as just a local talk show, but was so good that it built itself through word of mouth, something we try to replicate every day on this broadcast. Just like we try to replicate the civil, thoughtful, incisive conversations about the issues of the day. Phil Donahue, indeed, was the precursor of Rush Limbaugh, who, being one-sided, was someone who brilliantly extolled the virtues of conservatism, although not agreed. Everyone was both informed and entertained. Phil Donahue was not the wit that Rush Limbaugh was, but he certainly was. There were moments of great levity on the broadcast, and they were always well placed, and they were always very professionally done. This guy has made a huge impact on virtually everyone, and you have seen the format that he pioneered with Oprah Winfrey and many, many others. And yeah, on this broadcast, we believe the value of discussion outweighs the silliness of an argument. We're all going to miss Phil Donahue. And as he lived a great life, passing away at age 88, all we can do is stop for a moment and think about the work that he did and the work that inspired so many footsteps along that path, including this broadcast. Thanks to Phil Donahue. Thanks for all that he did. God bless his family. God bless his memory. And God bless Charlie. See you tomorrow. Phil Donahue is dead at 88.